And now we're recording, and we're going to talk
Okay. There you go.
about One Piece, which Bradley has made progress. I believe you finished an arc, didn't you?
Yes, I finished the Rogueport arc,
Damn, boy.
which I imagine
Hold on.
I
Is it
imagine
not?
this
Is
was
it not Rouge Town?
that's the well, I'm like, or maybe it's Rogue Town, Rouge Town. I see when I see Rogue or Rouge, I don't know how to pronounce it.
No one knows.
Um, I imagined it's Rogue because like pirates are rogues, but it could also be Rouge, like
So
But
the
it's called
Ruddy.
it's
Luke
Rogue
Town.
Town. Well, here's the
Yeah,
thing.
okay. Yeah, I
People
think you're right. I
online are
think
going
it's
to know it
town.
as Luge Town.
Oh,
You're
Rogueport is from Paper Mario, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, you were
Okay.
confusing me this
Yeah.
whole time. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah.
People will get it flipped between Luge and Rouge or whatever because R's and L's are,
Well, it's
they're
only
tough to
got
translate.
4 kids called it Rouge Town.
Okay, we'll call it Rouge Town.
Why?
Yes. Because it's Rouge Town,
We got to call it something.
Rogue
For
Town.
4 kids?
No, Four Kids doesn't. No, dude. A lot of the fans also call it Luge Town because that's how the scans translated it back in the day.
It is called Rouge Town.
I'm gonna call it Rouge Town.
Well, I'm glad we spent a minute and 15 seconds on how to pronounce the name of this
Yeah.
arc, but let's move on.
I think we'll do good. This discussion won't be as long as our long part, just because this arc is like a fifth the
It's
length.
much
of
shorter.
that.
Yeah.
But we do have really, really good stuff.
Let's do it.
So this arc starts off with the crew is ready to head out to the Grand Line, but they stop by Rouge Town first to see where Gold Roger was both born and executed. And this is just like I feel like we have to do this, right? Because Luffy's about to like truly start his journey. So it's like let's go see like what created this world he wants to be the king of.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and so it's just really cool that we get to come see this and kind of get some inspiration before we really start the journey. Everyone kind of splits off doing their own little thing for a little bit. Zoro briefly runs into this girl who looks and acts almost exactly like his childhood friend, who's the reason he's on this journey.
Oh man, big theories spawns from this
Um,
character.
And there's some wild stuff, man. This whole scene in the sword shop, we kind of get a lot of we kind of get some little bits and pieces of like exposition and world building, learning about these swords. I believe there are 40 fine ones, 11 supreme ones, and I can't remember the excellent ones.
There's also the Black Blades, right? That's its
Yeah.
own category.
Yeah, and so we kind of learn about these. I'm like, okay, this is cool. So this is gonna be an element we have now.
Very
We kind
true.
of we get to hear a little bit about the Navy presence in this town, which I'm going to be talking about the Navy a lot in this discussion.
Yo, finally.
I think you guys will be pleased with where we go with that.
Joe's been looking forward to Navy talk.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that whole scene's fun. While they're doing that,
I like his the ballsiness of him to just hold out his arm while the sword is spinning downwards, and
oh yeah, because
What?
he's just like, man,
I'm a lucky
He's like-
bitch.
yeah, I'm a lucky motherfucker.
If this sword wants me, it can have me.
Yeah. So while they're doing that, Nami is going out, being a rich bitch, and buying everything she wants.
Gotta love it.
Sanji is, of course, looking for fish. Usopp's kind of, doing his thing.
God,
He
what
kind of
is
meets up with each of
I-
the different people.
For a hot second, I got Usopp and Sanji mixed up from my mind. I was like, why the fuck would Usopp be looking for fish?
Well, I don't even remember what Usopp did in this arc. He was so barely there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then so Luffy obviously goes to Gold Roger's execution platform, and without hesitating, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go stand on top of it and yell stuff." So, which
As
is
you do.
as you do.
I want to draw attention to the panel where Luffy first sees the execution platform.
And all the people just disappear.
Yeah, it's just Oda's really good for doing backgrounds, and he uses the inverse of that really well here, where Luffy's in this crowd of people, and he uses negative space to it's just Luffy and the execution platform, and even for someone as much of a goober as Luffy, you can tell the weight of this moment and like how he thinks it's so special, and I really like that.
Man, and speaking of backgrounds, this might be considered like a 1 or 2 minute break from the beat by beat, but I want to talk about Oda and backgrounds. He's really good at drawing them, but he's also really good at knowing when he doesn't need to draw them.
Yes.
Anytime we move to a new place or if we're in a battle and people shift positions, that's when he'll draw like the really detailed backgrounds just to give you a mental image of where everyone is.
Whenever stuff is spatial oriented.
Yeah, but like once we know the background, if we have a moment where it's just someone talking or just someone swinging a sword, he doesn't really bother drawing the background because we know what it looks like and he can use that for like motion lines or
speed
gestures.
lines, yeah.
Otherwise, and fog up the image. Because imagine like that scene where there's Arlong and he pulls out his teeth and like he's chomping on it, and you see like the bit by bit, so you can follow it as like he's chomping at Luffy.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if like there was like you could see the image of the
God
of the thing behind it. It would just like the lines would be everywhere. Like it just
be so distracting.
Yeah, it'd be too busy.
But meanwhile, while they're talking, you get some faraway shots of like you get to see the pool and you get to see the background while they're talking, and Arlong's talking about how superior humans are. So he knows when to show us backgrounds and when to focus on the action.
And that's how he can do this weekly. I think it's really amazing that he found a technique that is both easier and quicker to do and also looks better. So
man,
it's very nice. I've been wanting to fit that in somewhere, and I just had to bring it up because someone said the word background.
Hey man, that's how we go.
Okay. So Luffy's doing his thing on the platform. We get that amazing shot where he's like, "Holy shit, this is where the man himself was killed." And so then we had kind of gotten hints from the townspeople. We kind of heard the name Captain Smokey thrown around. And we kind of have like some severely
Is that a joke, or do you think his name is Smokey?
Is that not what it is? No, Smoker.
Okay.
Okay, this isn't Friday.
Joe.
It's not Smokey, it's Smoker.
Joe, back to the dungeon with you. You can go hang out with Bellamere.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Before we actually meet him, we get an impression of him from 3 different kinds of people. The girl's name was it Taguchi? What was
Tashigi.
Tashigi?
Yes.
Yeah, Tashigi.
Okay. So she's one of the people we get an impression of Smoker from. I almost said Smokey again. We get an impression of him from her, and she's like, no, he's not a monster. Like he's doing his job. And I'm like, okay, well, you're Navy, so let's see what other people think, right? A lot of normal townspeople seem to be kind of scared of him. And I'll talk about why I think that is in a minute, even though I don't think you should be scared of him. And then we also see just straight up criminals who are like, man, fuck him, fuck your boss, he threw our boy in jail. So I'm like, okay, we have a person of the law who's like, I like him. We have criminals who don't like him. I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. But then we also have civilians who are kind of wary about him. So before we got like the big personality reveal of Smoker, which when I say personality reveal, I'm going to say kind of the litmus test for what kind of person he was the girl's ice cream falling on him.
Oh, that was so sweet, yeah.
Because in this story, someone's reaction to a girl's ice cream falling on them will probably tell you everything you need to know about that character.
Oda is that kind of writer, absolutely. Yeah.
So, like, we get there and it ends up being revealed that, you know what, he's a tough-looking guy, but he deep down, he is a sweetheart, and he is a man of the law. And he's very competent.
Another personality litmus test of him is just like, what is another angle of his personality? Okay, he's also a badass who rides a smoke bike, and like you can tell he's just like, he's a cool, tough guy, and that's the kind of character that you're being portrayed with here.
Before we got to that actual ice cream personality reveal, I suspected he would end up being a fairly good guy for a few reasons. There's kind of some tangible reasons and one kind of meta reason. For the tangible ones, I don't. It's kind of like when I said that I didn't think Kobe would be dead set on joining the Navy if all of the Navy was fucked up. It's kind of the same thing. I don't think our sword girl would look up to Smoker if he was a bad guy, just because she seems like such a lawful, good, and righteous person right now.
Not to mention, she's his lieutenant, so...
Yeah.
Would she
So I
really
was
put up with that if he wasn't like at least redeemable?
yeah, so I was pretty confident there. Um, and then there was kind of this little, I think like the first real time we see him is he's stacking stones in his office,
Mhm.
and someone barges in and the stones fall over. Um, and all these other Navy officers we saw probably would have been like, "What the fuck?" and they would have like destroyed him. But he's like, well, sometimes you just gotta accept it and start over later. Like he has patience. He didn't go ballistic.
Mhm.
So I'm already like, okay, he's kind of different than what we've seen before.
It
Um,
looks fucking sweet.
yeah. But the thing I
God, I
really
love his
wanted to
design.
mention is I was pretty confident he was going to be good because, um, so 3 is kind of a magic number in storytelling and comedy. And I think this is like the third, like,
Marine.
big, um, encounter we've had with like a Navy guy. Like
Yeah.
I'd probably say Morgan is the first. Arlong Park asshole is in there. In between those, we've
Full
had
body.
like we've seen Full Body. He was in for like a chapter or two. There was another guy in Arlong Park who was unnamed for a chapter or two. As far as like the people we've gotten like entire arcs with, I'd say he's probably the third one. Like, okay, what kind of personality are we really going to see here? Um, and so 3 is kind of a magic number. And the first 2 Navy guys that I'm talking about, Morgan and Mouse Guy and Arlong Park, are just total assholes. Um, and so with Smoker being like the third Navy guy in this triple beat here, I guess if you want to call it. I think we needed Smokey to be a good one if he's like the third one that we're gonna focus on hugely.
Mm-hmm.
It like if he was an asshole, or if we had like a third major Navy captain who was an asshole before him, I think that would have been the point where I subconsciously established in my mind that okay, the Navy just sucks. They're just all bad guys.
It was just
Right.
a joke almost.
Yeah, and so I think we kind of needed him to be a good guy because one, having that kind of subversion, like oh, the third one, oh, he's good. Subconsciously, that's just pleasing to people, I think. And so as far as doing this like 3 beat with like a bad captain, good captain, I don't know if Oda did it on purpose. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I think it could also easily be this thing that Willard talks about in the past about how some good writing techniques are just instinct if you've been writing for a while. So I don't know. He might have just done that.
There's also I brought up before, but the concept that One Piece has a lot of geographical power scaling. And this is one of those cases where geographically they're closer to the Grand Line, so that navy needs to be more competent.
Yeah, we
because
can't just have a guy doing whatever he
They
wants.
can't have Morgan in that navy. It needs to be a well-functioning navy, and a well-functioning navy generally is not going to have an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the Marines there, they have a good captain. They have Smoker because he's the last line before an East Blue pirate attempts to make it to the Grand Line.
yeah, it's good. It's kind of like these bad or these like very bad and hot-headed Navy captains we've been seeing. They're kind of like, I don't know if you'd call the East Blue the backwoods, but like compared to where we are right now,
I think
feels
it's
like that.
I think it's stated to be the weakest of the 4 blues, right?
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah,
I think so because yes, because I know for a fact there's one that there I think it comes up in a later arc, like a much later arc, the most recent arc that just finished.
Uh-huh.
It comes up.
That is it even a spoiler to say it's whatever?
Yeah, it's but yeah, it's they're not necessarily they're the weakest, and part of that have they explained how they get to the Grand Line yet?
I don't know. They just left the town, so
Okay,
I imagine
probably
they're sailing there.
It's a very unique way.
All right.
Yes.
So let me see what else I have to say about Smoker. Another thing I really like about his personality that's different from kind of what we've seen from other Navy captains is just the sheer level of like competence of this man. So like, Morgan ended up losing to Luffy, I guess. Full body got full bodied and kind of embarrassed in the
by Sanji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mouse captain who was an asshole. I can't remember his name if he has
Nezumi.
one. Yeah, he he gets fucking destroyed. Like the strongest things his crew has are like these musket looking guns.
Mhm.
And even then you only got the impression that Arlong really was working with him because Arlong felt generous enough to. I don't think they could have done anything if Arlong didn't comply.
I think it was also that Arlong knew that if he caused too much trouble, the Navy would bring a hammer down on him. So he'd rather
Yeah.
just not
They're
worry
like,
about it.
they're gonna bring someone who actually matters, not this little bitch.
Yeah.
But man, with Smoker, like the moment he hears there's trouble, like the first thing that comes out of his mouth is like, okay, I need this squad here, I need this squad here, I want this squad position here with these weapons in this formation. Like, I'm like, holy shit, this guy knows it. This guy knows what he's doing.
He's
Yeah.
done. You get the impression he's done this many times before.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like and I think, and the other thing was like a lot of the big thing significantly different about Smoker is to the other Navy officers we've met is that Smoker's the first one that we've met in a high position that legitimately wants to be a Navy person because he is like that's what he likes to do, not because of power or like wealth or like power or just like being a psychopath a power monger.
There you go.
He likes he's a good Navy boy. He's a good commander and captain and just.
Do we not get his flashback story too in this arc?
I don't think we do.
No, I think that comes much later.
Oh wow. Okay.
I didn't see a flashback story.
Yeah.
And like, I just really appreciated that. I feel like a lot of these other Navy guys we saw in the past, even someone like Full Body, who I wouldn't say he's a bad guy.
No, he's just a little cocky.
Yeah, like even someone like him, I feel like if they saw Luffy, they'd be like, "Oh hell yeah, I'm gonna get that 30 million berries." But Smoker's just like, "Oh, he's wanted by the Navy. It's my job. I'm gonna get his ass." Like, I don't think he's worried about the money.
Doesn't he even say like at one point he's like, "This guy's worth 30 billion"? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says something like that. And it just goes to show that he's so level-headed too and cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's not even like worried about, like you said before, getting the money. He's just like, all right, let's just do everything we can to secure this person and like be done with it. Like to actually like capture him, not for fame and glory. That's like the last thing on his mind. It's what's the right thing to do here to make the best decision.
And like you said, with his cool-headedness, when Luffy gets away, we don't get like a "How dare you defy the Navy?" He's just like, I guess we're going after him.
I wouldn't say it was like that. He was pissed. He was like,
Yeah, he was
"Shit,
pretty upset, I would say.
did I really let this guy loose? He's 30 million's worth.
Yeah.
I gotta chase him."
We didn't get like an explosion of anger.
Yeah, he
I think
didn't
is what I
shoot
mean.
one of his commanders.
It was a seething anger.
Yeah.
But we also get just the like. Well, I guess we shouldn't skip ahead to where Luffy escapes because we have some other big stuff going on between.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's follow your roadmap.
Yeah. So Smoker. The reason he sent his boys to the square is because very just total cowboy pirate babe who we find out is Alvida shows up, and because I recognized her from the like
Cover
buggy
story.
mini arc that appears
Yeah.
between chapters, and I was like, and then like I think it was when I saw her club, I was like, oh my god, is this Alvida?
I like how you were able to remember it from the club. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
I think that's a really good way of Oda like foreshadowing who she is. Because like the one other than Alvida's weight, it's the fact that she had that fucking club and
She's
hitting
called
everybody.
Iron Club Alvida.
Yeah.
That's her pirate name.
And like it's just really fun. And so obviously as soon as we saw Alvida, I was like, okay, well Buggy's got to be here too. And he is, and he's out for revenge. And man, we see two new Devil Fruit users in this arc, which would be Alvida and Smoker.
Yes.
And they're very cool. Alvida had she's slippery.
Slip fruit.
Fruit.
Yes, and it's very cool because
Girl.
she's like, as you can tell, it slightly changed my appearance. And Luffy's like, okay. And I think it's really cool because you immediately, like, you hear the slip power and you're like, okay, I gotta see what actually we can do with this. And
Some
she can
fun
use it
shit.
to. So far, we have some mobility with it. She can slide pretty fast and
She
far.
maintains her strength. So
Yeah.
you can wield that thing while sliding around.
I imagine we'll see some pretty cool applications of this, or at least I hope. And then Smoker seems to be able to like. It reminds me of Hard Light, but it's like hard smoke. He can like grab things with it and manipulate it.
So
Um,
yes, so Smoker is the first instance where we meet a completely different new type of devil fruit powers.
There's
Yeah,
actually
like-
3 classes of devil fruits, and you won't really know all the classes until like 2 arcs in. I think.
because like
Yeah,
Luffy,
yeah.
Alvida, and Buggy all have fruits that change your body like on a fundamental level
Yep.
in some way.
That's called a paramecia fruit,
There you
as
go.
you'll find out later. Which is minor. So Smoker, his fruit is elemental based. So he can turn into an element, and he can manipulate that element, which includes making smoke denser to where it can grab people as well. So it becomes a dense gas
Nice.
that has a solidity to it, I guess.
Yeah, and I think his type is largely considered, I think, in universe as the most powerful type of like devil fruit
Yes.
of the 3 categories.
Which is how he got in this position. Because man,
Additionally, he can use the smoke to rev up his bike because One Piece technology is pretty fun and whimsical. You get like the buggy car, you get
God,
which
that
is
was so
powered by Boogie's fruit, and then you get this bike which he turns his legs into smoke and then
yeah,
uses
and then
them to rotate
Alvida
it.
like has her technique of, hey guys, hold up this slide, and she slides down it, and she just slips along the sidewalk.
You're getting to the point where like, yeah, devil fruits, they're not like the deepest power system, but they're used so fun. Like,
Yeah, they're
Oda has so much
I
fun
really
with
like the way everyone uses their stuff so far.
And also, like I've told Willer and you this before, but like really for a devil fruit, there's only one rule to it, and is that you cannot swim.
Yeah.
Fundamentally on the power level, and that's it. And the sky's the limit from there.
And another part of Smoker's power set is also another big world building thing, is that he has a sea prism stone baton.
Ooh.
The tip of his baton. Did you know like that scene happened already, right, Joe? Where he uses it to pin down Luffy.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sea prison. Yeah.
So what that is it's a type of stone that removes the power from devil fruit users. It's the same as the devil fruit user being underwater, but it's on contact.
Man. Okay, so that's why it's called sea prison.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't fully explained, but
We saw it. We saw it like in one panel, and I think Alvida's like, "Oh, that's the sea prison thing," and we didn't get much explanation after that. But I just assumed like, okay, this is gonna be a recurring weapon.
it totally is. It'll get more formal explanations. You'll learn where they come from. Another application of them, just off the top of my head, which will help you understand the world a little better, is cuffs. So it's like, oh, if they capture another elemental type like Smoker, how could they keep them detained? Well, they have this technology for it.
Yeah, it's nice. No, like knowing what I do about One Piece now, if there's like a weapon or an item like that gets named, I'm like I can be reasonably confident that we're not naming it for no reason. Like it's going to be relevant. So, like we wouldn't just name Zoro's sword if it wasn't significant.
Yeah. Zoro swords.
All right. So yeah, we get the fun little sequence where Navy versus pirates versus also pirates, and man, it's a lot of fun, and it's just so cool that, and I guess we need to talk about this, how we have these series of circumstances that allow Luffy and his crew to escape, with the storm, the lightning striking at the right moment, the rain putting out the fire on a ship, or rather preventing it.
Got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do. So a lot of people, I imagine there's a lot of people who are like, "Boo, Deus Ex Machina! We just wanted to save Luffy." And I'm like, I understand not liking Deus Ex Machina stuff like that, because sometimes it can feel cheap. But I feel like here, this isn't Oda taking the cheap way out. This is him like no, this is for real. Being king of the pirates is Luffy's fucking destiny. It's going to happen.
For sure, but there's also he uses it thematically, so that's one way where it's like it doesn't hurt.
That's why it separates from just taking the easy way out. For
there's some mysterious people that show up in this arc. Do you have any thoughts on them?
Yeah, and so they're in here briefly, and Smoker's like, okay, why are you helping him escape? Because aside from just the weather, specifically one of these guys uses like a wind blast. Smoker's like, why are you helping him? And he tries to blow it off just as, who am I to get in someone else's way? And I'm like, okay, well, this isn't just you not getting in someone's way. This is you deliberately helping this guy. So, I could speculate all day, and I could have a million different speculations, like, oh, maybe these guys are seers and they know where Luffy's going in life, or maybe they're just after Luffy themselves so they can get the money. There's a million different speculations I could make. I don't think I have enough information to draw on, but I know for a fact we're going to be seeing these guys some more.
Yeah, one of the
I guess some mm-hms.
Yeah. Well, so one of the characters in there is Dragon. That's the guy that saves Luffy.
Is he named?
Yes.
I believe he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Smoker calls him Dragon. He's the neat dude.
He's
bit.
cool. Yeah, so I'm ready to see more of them. And thanks to, I guess, fate, Luffy is able to escape, and my boys are headed off to the fucking Grand Line.
Yeah. After all this time, chapter 100, the legend begins.
Yeah, I love that the legend begins where they're finally like truly heading off to the Grand Line. Is chapter 100. That's very cool.
Yeah. We weren't lying when we said One Piece starts after this arc, essentially.
Yeah.
Because shit really picks up now, world building wise, plot wise.
We're not gonna be dealing with these little East Blue bitches anymore. Like, we're gonna be in the fucking Grand Line.
You're going to be getting into arcs that are either very important for worldwide events or arcs that are preliminary arcs, like setup arcs for later arcs. Like, you're going to be getting to sagas at this point.
Yeah.
So, this is the completion of the East Blue saga. I think most of what happens in East Blue, with the exception of a few things, kind of only pertains within itself.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. There's a lot that comes up.
But I don't think there's any consequences of what the team does other than in Lugeport, because that.
Okay, you're right.
I'll just have to...
You could count Boogie because like he's already shown up once, and he's.
That's true. But like,
that's about it.
I don't. But yeah, East Blue is pretty self-contained in its like relevance of itself.
Okay.
But going forward, like, it's a domino effect of everything else in the story.
The Grand Line is the stage at which the big players are playing.
That's the name of the treasure in the Grand Line.
Yeah, you know the song.
So to give you some fun facts, Bradley, the next arc and the arc after that was completely removed from the 4Kids broadcast of One Piece.
What's wrong with them, man?
Oh, you're right. Well, no, Whiskey wasn't, but
sorry, not Whiskey. The one.
Two out of the next three.
Yeah.
And see, that scares me because I can't see a One Piece arc being irrelevant enough to justify removing it.
It gets extremely awkward.
These two arcs are some of the most important arcs later in the series.
Actually, yes, these are extremely important.
Yeah, like there hasn't been a single chapter where I've been like, oh, we could remove this and everything else would still make sense.
Except
like,
Gaimon, but I'm holding out, man.
He's relevant to Buggy, I guess. So, I mean, like, you could argue for that. So, like, every chapter I feel like has been important in some way.
True.
What did you think of having the cover stories being as side stories that are canon?
I like it very much. It's kind of a way to... It's kind of like every 20 chapters, you've basically earned yourself a bonus chapter.
Yep, exactly. And what's cool is that, like, it's very fitting of One Piece, where we've talked a lot about how the world building is one of its strongest points, if not its strongest point, and how the world moves alongside the Straw Hats. It's not the series doesn't revolve around them. There's shit happening outside of them, and this is a way for Oda to really show that and tie stuff back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this way, when Buggy shows up later with Alvida, you're not just like completely off guard because you've been seeing these cover stories. You're like, oh, okay.
Oh, they meant something.
Yeah, because if they had just showed up without those cover stories, I'd be like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw one more thing. We did a Smoker talk, but Smoker is one of those reasons where, like, we all like Smoker, right? Like, even Bradley already likes him. Me and Joe for sure like him a lot.
Oh, yeah.
He could theoretically be one of the most wasted potentials in One Piece later down the line, but there's a lot of One Piece left. So it's hard to say.
Yeah.
A lot of One Piece, a lot of characters.
But Smoker is one of my favorite characters, and he's not even that deep. Like, when you think about it, he's not, like, compared to some, like, really deep characters that we know and love, he's like, yeah, he's just a cool guy, right? But it's his place in the world, his actions. Those two are what Oda does best with characters, where even if he's not writing a character that deeply, their place in the world and the things they do in the story are so memorable to you, where it's like, these guys don't have the craziest backstories or philosophies, or they're not, like, super emotionally complex, but they're just so likable because he's so good at writing. One Piece is a series where, like, maybe a character doesn't have, like, 20 meters of depth, but they're all every single character has, like, at least 5 or 10. So,
not
like,
everyone has a tragic backstory.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just like they're all good enough to be in this world, that the world is so good and every character is at this level of goodness that it elevates everyone up.
Yeah. And the thing about Smoker that I think he has more depth than you think, Willard, because there's definitely a part in a much later arc.
Right. I'm talking about what we know now, where it's like we all like him. We've all liked him since, like, his introduction.
I was gonna say, because, like, we get to a later arc and Smoker has to make a decision, and it's
very important.
Yes.
Several times he's had to be very important. Even
I think the role Smoker plays is, like, extremely great. Because he's wonderful whenever he shows up. I'm very interested to see much later down the line where we're in a point where I don't think Smoker can play that role anymore.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's One Piece characters, all very lovable because of that.
And now you're going to the Grand Line. The
Grand Line.
Start the Alabasta saga.
Woo! Man, the ending of that saga is when I realized One Piece was my favorite manga. At the time, I hadn't read JoJo's yet. Now they're racing neck to neck.
I'll say I feel like every year or so, one kind of might overtake the other.
Every time JoJo Line goes out, it blows your fucking mind.
Yeah, One Piece is better than JoJo when it's not in its slow segments of the arc, and JoJo is better than One Piece when it's the vice versa, or when it comes out. I'm glad I have them both in my life.
Yeah.
So to finish off One Piece talk, I have two more little short things, and
let's do it.
It's not really a ton of analysis. It's just like, hey, this was fucking cool. Man, the panel where Luffy is on the execution platform, about to be executed by Buggy, and he's like, "I'm gonna be king of the pirates." Like, he just yells it, and it's like it takes up a full page.
Big dick plays.
Like, oh, I got goosebumps.
I'd say there's some analysis to be had there. He's so sure of himself.
Yeah,
and,
it is his destiny, man, and he knows it. He knows he has the willpower to do it. And in One Piece, willpower is power. A lot of the battles
is the strongest stat in One Piece.
A lot of the battles, and Bradley's already seen this, there aren't really fights of strategy and brawn. They're bouts of will.
Yeah,
it's
they're
the strongest
idealistic struggles.
Yeah. They're almost abstract sometimes.
And starting from this moment on, after Luffy yells he's going to be king of the pirates, we shift pretty heavily more towards Smoker's perspective, where he's watching this fight collapse, and he watches the weather basically free Luffy and his crew and help them escape. And he's like, holy shit, this was like, this had to be some kind of force of nature pushing this man to escape.
There's a great moment where like right after everything comes up and Luffy comes up unscathed, which is actually extremely important later. And Sanji goes like, "Do you believe in a higher power?"
Yeah.
When Boogie's about to kill him and the lightning strikes the platform and Boogie's fried and Luffy's just like, I'm Luffy.
Yeah. Which is super important.
Very funny.
So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people who didn't like the Deus Ex Machina feeling stuff of this arc, but
I feel like a lot of people don't mind. First of all, a lot of people at this point aren't looking at it as deep as you were, I feel like.
Yeah.
And it's very clear that there's something going on here, either thematically or plot-wise.
Yeah, this is the first, I think, chapter or arc where like you realize there's something going on in the background. There's something more happening around the world.
because like I wouldn't ever. I don't think I would believe Oda would just do this for no fucking reason. Like he's Oda Sensei, so.
Yeah,
I could see him doing it for a thematic purpose, but I also feel like there could also be other purposes or other
because outside the Shichibukai or the Seven Warlords, this is the only arc to leave like some pretty dangling mysteries at the end of it.
Yeah, and man, did we get mysteries? So I'm excited to pursue them.
Yeah.
I guess only other real thing that I took a note on was initially whenever Nami realizes this Giga Storm is coming, she grabs Usopp. She's like, "We got to go back to the boat." And Usopp, so Nami's like, "We have to go back to the boat," and she's stressing it. She's like, "No, we're going. Like, we're just not even going to worry about what's going on in the square." And Usopp is like, "No, we have to go back. Luffy's there. They're going to hurt him." And Nami is like, "What could we even do about it?" And it's interesting because I feel like before Arlong Park, Usopp would have either been like, "Yeah, okay, let's go to the boat," or he would have been the one being like, "What could we even do about it?" But after this growth we had with Usopp, he's like, "No, I'm the kind of guy who will stick his neck out for my boys. Okay, I will jump into the battle. Okay, I'm not
at a safe distance."
at a safe distance."
He's a ranged DPS. That's what he does.
So I don't know. I thought that was a fun little moment, and it only took like 3 panels for Oda to do it. So why not?
It blows my mind that a certain character is designed this arc, Willer, considering that like his interaction with Usopp would kind of be fitting.
I wish I could help you out, Willer. I don't know who
the next one.
Huh?
It's the
I don't
next
know.
one.
It's the next one?
Yeah, because I feel like him and Usopp are kind of in the same power level headwise, and so tend to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, you'll have to.
Yeah,
you'll
well,
have
I'll
to
explain
text
later
me.
when that person joins.
Just
the crew.
PM me right now. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, the next. Why the fuck would he? Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're talking about.
I want to talk about one last point.
Okay.
and
Scary babies.
It's the barrel kick. The barrel oath is a really fun
Oh
scene
yes.
in chapter 100. where
They all
they
have their
put
turns.
Yep, they have their turns speaking out their dreams, and they put their feet on the barrel. It's part of being a crew in One Piece. There's a whole theme to what does a crew really mean.
Nakama.
What is a nakama, as they yell in Japanese. I feel like the big point of a crew is people that choose to be with each other and share their dreams with one another, and they trust each other, and they're all willing to achieve their goals together, which is a really beautiful way to look at a group of people. And I feel like this is a reaffirmation of their bond as a crew before they enter the first big obstacle of their career as pirates. So I really like that moment.
And yeah, it was just kind of a like them saying that and then like being like, "Let's go to the Grand Line," was just like someone waving like a race flag, like, "Hey, One Piece is starting now."
Yeah.
I feel like at the end of every single arc, we're gonna be like, "Hey, One Piece officially started," but
No, that joke ends here because it's real.
okay. So yeah,
There was a reason why when I was thinking about before I started reading One Piece, I was thinking about watching the anime that I essentially started right after this arc because this is when it really kind of really kicks off in its adventure.
Yeah. Well, man,
Like,
at
this
this
is
point,
basically just a one shot of One Piece.
yeah. Well, at this point, I'm on chapter 101, a little over 10% of the way through, so steady progress, I
What's
guess.
101 called?
I can't remember. 100 was the legend something I already forgot.
What begin?
It's probably Reverse Mountain. Or
Yeah.
no,
Oh, yeah,
it's,
that was it. That was it.
Yep.
Oh man, and the cover page introduces a great character that you don't get to know until later.
Yeah, I don't think I looked
Ooh,
at the cover
what?
page yet, so we'll see.
What are you talking about?
On the cover they have the guy with the dog on his head.
Oh, holy shit! That early, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Man,
man, that character is Joe.
what?
Joe, that character is just you.
I'm not
It
okay.
reminds me of you. I'm really Bradley. What was your score for this arc for me and Joe's tally?
This is important.
I'll give this one. Coming after Arlong Park makes this hard. I'll give it a 3 out of 5, which I'll remind everybody is not like saying, "Hey, this is bad." Like 3 out of 5 is technically more than half, than 2 out of 5.
It's great.
Average
like-
to good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty good because
it is
that
average
means
to
the
good.
point.
Just know Bradley scoring things 4s and 5s is a big deal. So
Yeah.
just keep that in mind.
It's just like this arc is a lot. It's okay. I guess I'd explain it by saying this arc is a lot more of an exposition and world building arc than it is the godlike character building arc that we had previously.
Man, I'm really positive for the next few arcs. I'm very worried about my race score.
I'm pretty positive for the entire future of One Piece.
Dude, I am super interested of what you'll think of the next arc because I think me and Joe have some pretty different guesses. For Luge Town, I'd agree with you. I'd probably give it like a 3.5. Part of it comes from knowing things later.
Yeah.
You can look at the arc retroactively and it raises your score. It's one of those.
There you go.
I think that one and the one following, for sure, the one following.
God, the one following it, it raises the score by quite a bit.
Yeah. You start crying.
Yeah. Ooh, can't wait.
Yeah.
Well, that is
One Piece.
One Piece.
Yeah.
We only went a little bit shorter. What
That's
do you
the
know?
name of the treasure.
Shorter?
A little bit shorter than last time.
Okay.
Shorter than last time, but not shorter than I thought we would go.
Yeah. Yeah. What was
We
it?
we have a good time.
I think so, Bradley. I think the next arc is pretty short too, comparatively.
I think
That's fine.
if you were resolved, you could do it by next
You can
roundabout.
The
Yeah,
problem
you
is we just did
you
like
can
40
definitely knock
minutes
out
on
Mr.
one volume, so we're always going to have a lot of stuff to say.
There's a lot to say on this one. There's less to say in the next one at the time, for sure.
What we need to do is, and this is later, but when Bradley gets to the time skip, we need to have a One Piece Part 1 Bradley overview.
Yeah.
Phantom Blood overview.
A retrospective.
Yeah,
Some
or
notes.
writing up notes. Also, Bradley, I just want to say whenever we talk about an arc, I literally bring out my iPad and start like flipping through the chapter pages.
Yeah, I figured you were because every once in a while you'd be like, "Oh wait, here's this thing right here." Like,
That's
there's-
an excellent idea. I should do that.
Yeah, because it helps me like remember that arc, and then like I get to see what you're talking about, and it lets me like point out any other small things.
yeah, I need to do that also.
That's
There's
really good.
there's a joke that Willer. I went back and I've been like kind of hopping around Whole Cake Island
Uh-huh.
arc, and I went back and read the chapter, where they execute their plan,
Uh-huh.
and I forgot the great joke at the end of that where somebody smashes something.
It so fucking funny while
It's
he's staring the
so
person in the
good.
face.
So good.
Oh my god. Okay, alright.
It's such an important beat in that story too.
And he's just doing I'm remembering it better now because he's also wearing the costume.
Yeah, he has the balloon head.
Oh my god. Okay.
Bradley,
I can't wait.
I feel like Whole Cake Island is one of those controversial things, but I loved it so much. Like
it's not even that controversial. It's the usual like fatigue while you're reading it, and then you reread it. It's like, oh my god.
That's the thing. Is there controversial stuff in One Piece? Because I feel like everything's just really good.
There's arcs where people are like, yeah, I don't care much for it.
There's one that's right after.
The most controversial is like you're after you've been past like Don Krieg and Kuro, which are some of the commonly cited worst arcs. So.
Mm-hmm. And you can like sign those off to like the infancy of One Piece.
Yeah.
But I think in the later lines, there's only like one arc that's kind of like what's happening, but there are some very strong theories as to why that's important. Long Ring Island.
Yeah, Joe really hated that one.
No, that was Tyler.
You did too. You were like, I feel like I'm reading a cartoon.
That mainly has to do with like one segment in the middle of it. That was just that like maybe like oh god, we'll get to it later. But like I was just baffled by how like confusing it was.
Anyways,
yeah,
3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Oh, I just muted myself. 3. Oh no, we've been recording this whole time.